Harlem Eubank versus Nurali Ergodan. What happened in this fight? First thing I noticed is that in the press conferences and all the pictures with these two together, Harlem Eubanks was taller than this guy. When they got in the ring, Harlem Eubanks was considerably shorter than this guy, considerably smaller than this guy as well. This guy looked like he was 2 weight classes above Harlem Eubanks in there. So what that means is that he was wearing platforms at all the press conferences and all the meetups before the fight. I've seen fighters do it before. I see Floyd with it when he came to the UK for the press tour with Conor McGregor. I've also seen Sean Porter when he came to watch Tank versus Liam Walsh. Sean Porter also had some platform type shoes on. So it's the trainers, but it's got like a big fat wedge on it to give you a few inches of height extension. So these guys have got some height complex, man. They need to allow all of that. But Harlem Eubanks obviously done the same thing because when he got in the ring, he was considerably smaller than this guy. And it was a good thing that they found a guy that has no knockouts on his record because Harlem Eubanks, as soon as he felt any type of pressure, he must have felt one punch in that first round and he just started clinching. But in a sneaky type way where he's going body to body with the guy, then he holds his arm up, but it's interlocked with the other guy's arm. So it looks like they're both holding their arms up, but Harlem is actually holding his opponent's arms up by locking it in an upward position. It was just ridiculous. It just looked terrible. The ref was telling them to stop holding. They wouldn't let go of the clinch. Harlem Eubank wouldn't release my man from the clinch. They could be holding for all 5 to 10 seconds in there at any given time. It was terrible. Harlem would do this thing of a jab. He would jab from low and then shoot up into this clinch that he does. Shoot up into a body-to-body movement. And this guy's trying to wriggle away from this clinch. And at the end of the first round, they had their first tumble. They both dropped to the ground in some sort of UFC takedown type action. It looked more like WWE or UFC fighting more so than boxing. This whole fight, it was scrappy, it was ugly. Ergodan never had any particular skill to him, but he was not fazed by Harlem's shots at all. Anything Harlem threw at this guy was bouncing off of him. It was bounced off his body, bounced off of his head. He couldn't make a dent in Ergodan whatsoever. And Ergodan didn't have the tools to knock out Harlem Eubank because he did hurt him once or twice in there. I saw him actually hurt Harlem in there, but he couldn't get him out of there. He couldn't capitalize on what he had done. So the fight went the distance. Every other round, I'm thinking Harlem is going to get a point taken away from him for this clinching. But where the clinching was so excessive and the ref wasn't doing anything about it, Nurali started to push Harlem away underneath his chin with his open palm type thing, and then the ref took a point away for that. And I'm thinking, why didn't you take a point from Harlem for all this holding business? You're taking a point off the guy. 2-2s. They fell another 2 or 3 times. This was UFC, my guy. This was WWE wrestling business. It was terrible. It was not good. There was no entertainment in it at all. It was terrible. The crowd was dead. You could hear the ref over the crowd. All I could hear was the ref telling them off. Stop doing this, stop doing that, stop holding, stop pushing. It was terrible. In the last round, they both had a point taken off. The ref took another point off of my guy for whatever he done, and finally took a point off of Harlem for the holding clinching thing. And somewhere in the fight, there must have been some sort of head clash because Harlem Eubank got a gash opened over his eye, which didn't come from a punch because this guy couldn't punch heavy to save his life. Harlem Eubank can't punch heavy. I see him slapping in there. He doesn't turn his punches over properly. He does not turn his shots over properly. He's trying to do the Philly shell, shoulder roll, Mayweather shoulder roll business. It's not working for him either. He's just not good. He's not good enough. I'm very much apologetic to Conor Benn for even suggesting that this guy should fight you or you should fight this guy. Don't pay this guy no mind. Do not give this guy the time of day because he's no good. You will wipe the floor with this guy. And I will say that wholeheartedly. Conor Benn would wipe the floor with Harlem Eubanks. If Harlem Eubanks says that Chris Eubank will publicly annihilate and publicly humiliate and destroy, it will be a public execution if he fights Conor Benn, then that's what would happen if you fight Conor Benn. But you will be on the receiving end of the public execution. You are not good. You're lucky you didn't fight Adam Azim. He would have turned you over. He would have beat you to a pulp down there at 140. They're saying that you're going to get a homecoming next fight in Brighton and all of this type of stuff. I couldn't care less about Harlem Eubanks' career going forward. I don't see him as any type of good. He has to make some drastic improvements for me to even think that he is anywhere near a contender or a prospect even. And he's 31. So he's not getting any younger. 31 years old. I wouldn't even continue if I was you. I'd leave it all alone. Forget about it. You're not good enough. You won't be good enough. You're too old. You're too long in the tooth to be taken back to school and starting all over again. So, I'm not even going to say well done, because it wasn't well done. It was poorly done, but you got the win. I suppose congratulations. But I'll see you guys in the next video.